I am not a bounty hunter. I've heard otherwise. Jabba ruled with fear.
You were all once captains under Jabba the Hutt.
I'm here to make a proposal that's mutually beneficial. Please, speak freely.
Okay, so we go right into it now. Hello and welcome to another edition of Comics and Pop. Today we are discussing the Book of Boba Fett trailer that just came out, and a lot to pack in. It's like a little under 2 minutes, and already a lot to pack in. My thoughts are already running wild, but I'll take it to you guys and I'll jump on in. Last time we started with Troy. Carlos, let's start with you this time.
The Book of Boba Fett. It's funny because, like, you know, when you watch these reaction videos, you know, people are always like, "Oh, oh," and we're just sitting there like, the next one, I'm gonna like add effects and stuff and jump around and run around the room and stuff to make it more realistic. But so I'm a Star Wars guy, but I've like, you know, you have people that are Star Trek people, that are Star Wars people, some people that are both, you know, but it's usually either or. I'm 100% billion% Star Wars. So Star Wars is my favorite movie genre having to do with space. And Boba Fett was always like the coolest of the anti-heroes, right? Because he's a bounty hunter, and he was, you know, he's kind of like, he was a bad guy, but he kind of like became an anti-hero, like a cool guy, you know. So it looks awesome. I wrote down the name of the actor. So the guy's name is Tamura Morrison, and the cool thing about him, he was the one who played Jango Fett in the Attack of the Clones. So technically, you know, he's Boba Fett's dad, right? Because he adopted Boba Fett, you know, and the guy who the kid who goes on to become Boba Fett, which now he's playing Boba Fett, which is kind of cool, which is kind of like, you know, encircled. And in a way, it kind of makes sense because they were all clones. They all looked the same. He was a clone. So, you know, so if his son is going to grow up to look just like him anyway, right? So that's pretty cool. What's her name? The actress who's playing Fennec Shand. She's awesome too. She's obviously the original Mulan, right? Her name is Ming. What is it? Ming Na Wen.
Yes,
I did that really good. Thank you. I used my my Chinese accent. It came out really good. But she was also obviously in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But I mean, I've always liked her. You know, I like the play. She always plays like a no nonsense type of person. You know. And she's kind of like Boba Fett's right hand, I guess, man, woman, whatever in this show. So that's kind of cool. And you know, I like how they're going, where Boba Fett is going to be pretty much he's taking over Jabba the Hutt's world. So he's kind of like basically the new kingpin of the galactic underworld, right? So that's pretty cool. I mean, I love. I'm a big fan of the Mandalorian. So this is spinning off the Mandalorian, right? But in a way, the Mandalorian is a spin off of Boba Fett, right? Because Boba Fett was the original Mandalorian that we all knew. So, this is going to be so good. I'm so excited for this.
When's this coming out again? I didn't even remember. When is this hitting?
Is it next year or is it December?
I thought it was December, but maybe I might be wrong. I thought it was December. I'm not sure. Now I'll have to look it up. Let's see. All right, Troy, give me your thoughts.
When I saw the trailer, right? I'm watching the trailer. I'm checking stuff out. I'm trying to absorb everything. I'm putting myself in the trailer, and the first thing that comes to mind that I saw, well, it's really the first thing that comes to mind, but I saw a character there that made me wonder if Conan was Disney. I don't think he was Disney, but the movie Conan and the second one, which with Schwarzenegger, when he fights that wizard and the wizard is all, you know, and he turns himself into like the lizard guy, that dude was sitting at that table full of the captains. If it wasn't that specific dude, it was somebody wearing, you know, they made him up. He looked exactly like the villain from the Conan movie. Because I'm
Right.
looking at the people in the round table and I'm like, okay, yeah, right. Lizard people, aliens are, hey. And I saw the guy and I was like, where is he? I know him. He's familiar. And my first thought was, okay, that's the guy from that fought Kirk on that island. That on that planet, the lizard guy, Kirk hits him with the rock and it bounced off his chest. And I'm like, that's him. And I was like, nope, that's not him. It's a different lizard guy. And then, I'm thinking of all the lizard villains, that are popping in my mind. But that was the guy. That was the one from Conan. I don't know why he's there. Maybe it's just maybe the guy that did Conan is doing this. I don't know. But that was the guy. So I saw that and I couldn't get my mind off of that. I'm checking out the video. I'm enjoying the video. It's really cool. But that was on my mind. The next big thing that was on my mind is he is taking Boba Fett's place. So that means that this has to be happening somewhere after the time that Princess Leia choked Boba Fett to death. Remember, she threw the chain around his neck.
Jabba.
I mean, I'm going to say Jabba. She threw the chain around his neck and she's choking him. His gigantic tongue is hanging out of his mouth and she's choking him to death. Hot scene. Very hot scene. She's
By
very
the way,
beautiful.
the slave Leia costume is the most popular one I've ever worn for a Halloween party.
Well, you've got the legs for it.
That's true. That is
So
true.
she chokes him, right? So I'm thinking, because they're right. This is my theory. She killed Jabba. Jabba is part of a intergalactic gang organization, the Hutts. He was Jabba, the Hutt. So he was Jabba the Hutt. So another Hutt should have taken his place immediately. Since that didn't happen, and since they didn't say, oh, he killed Frank the Hutt, they said Jabba. So it must happen directly after Princess Leia does it. So in my mind, all the other Hutts are like, hey, somebody, what's going on here? Because, from the movies, if you've got the long table and the Don is sitting at the end of the table and somebody knocks off, Rocco, and someone's going to, some dude just couldn't walk in off of the street and say, yeah, I'll take over all of his organization. It doesn't happen like that. They appoint somebody. So if this galactic organization is anything like any other criminal organization, you can't just walk in and take it. So he's got to be in conflict, I'm assuming, with the other Hutts. So I think that's going to be part of the movie. He's got the seat, but now he's got to keep it.
Did you watch The Mandalorian, Troy?
Yeah.
Remember at the end of The Mandalorian what happened with Skywalker showing up?
That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was crazy cool.
Right. So I mean, basically, this is in that same timeline. So this is probably a few years or whatever after Leia killed Hutt. So because it's kind of like in that same timeline.
Yeah.
Well, when Boba Fett showed up in The Mandalorian, first of all, it's coming out December 29th, it says, this year. So I love The Mandalorian because and when he showed up in The Mandalorian, I think everyone was the same thing, oh, but I love The Mandalorian because it explored all the seedy underworld. It explored all the dark places of the Star Wars universe. And that was fun. It wasn't all the, flashing lights of the Star Wars movies, like all these big time special effects. It was really this seedy underbelly and, all the crime and all the, reprobates of the Star Wars universe we're getting to meet. But I am going to be disappointed if we're not going to be following any more adventures of the Mandalorian, because I'm all looking forward to that. I was looking forward to, more of those adventures. And I'm not thrilled that they're switching over back to Boba Fett, even though I know he's one of the most popular characters in Star Wars. And, and we saw in The Mandalorian, Boba Fett doesn't care at all about, that he'll just take off the mask now. But
they're still doing The Mandalorian. They're doing another season of The Mandalorian. So this is just
have you heard that? I mean, I haven't seen that for sure.
They're filming. I'm pretty sure they're filming it now. So I'm pretty sure they're filming the third season of Mandalorian. So this is just like a side thing, I guess.
Well, it's not going to be this year, The Mandalorian. That's for sure.
No, not at all. Yeah, but I mean, they're still doing a Mandalorian. They're not going to do the Mandalorian anymore.
We're
I'm
supposed to
hoping
have
so.
like 4 or 5 shows from that. The girl, I forget what her name is. The one double.
Oh yeah, the Jedi. Yeah, the one played by
the
what's her
Jedi
name?
chick.
Spanish girl. She's going to have her own show too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another worry for me too, that we're spin-off. Like, are we going to stretch that universe, way too much to make it all interesting? I mean, I'm going to go. I'll check them all out, of course. I always do, but even though I'm always worried about it, but I am concerned that we're going to be stretching. How many stories can we tell on the same one little area, one little group of people? So we'll see.
For me, Star Wars, this kind of revived it, but Star Wars, these kind of shows are for the original Star Wars people,
right?
People like our age and stuff. I have a buddy of mine who's in his 30s, who's a millennial, and I asked him about the Mandalorian. He's like, yeah, I lost interest in season 2. I'm like, huh? What? I'm like, hello.
Kids.
So this, but if you're a Star Wars person, which there's a lot of Star Wars people, they're gonna watch this. So
well, it's also that, like we just said, that everyone is divided up on the last trilogy. Everyone has their own opinions on the last trilogy. They were not overly well received. Everything, it's very mixed. This brought back, I thought, the Mandalorian series did bring back a lot of the grittiness to Star Wars, a lot of the great storytelling to Star Wars. And
that's what was good. I think that's what's good about the Mandalorian and Boba Fett is you're kind of going back to the original characters, where the newer movies, introduced new characters, and it was more revamped for a newer audience. Where I think this, Mandalorian and Boba Fett, they're going for the old school Star Wars viewers.
I don't mind new characters as long as we're making the stories interesting. That's
right. No, absolutely.
And
I mean, obviously, what made it great is that it was a great story as well. It was, it was done really well.
Something with what both of you said. Carlos had a point where the two big sci-fi things. I mean, if you get sci-fi guys together, they can talk tech, they can talk games, they can talk TVs, movies. But the big thing, aside from Marvel and DC, would be Star Wars and Star Trek. With Star Trek, you had Captain Kirk out there, which was actually first Captain Pike. He was in the first 2 episodes. Yes. But Captain Kirk was out there, kicking butt across the universe. And then they did spinoffs from him. They had Deep Space Nine, Voyager, they had all this other stuff. And they broadened the universe. Andromeda is supposed to be 500 years after Kirk. Mm-hmm. So they had all of this stuff and they broadened it. I think it got a little thin after a while. But with Star Wars, I think they're doing the same thing. I think they said, okay, look, we had Luke, we had Leia, we had Vader. Let's stretch it out. So they're picking certain parts, just like with Star Trek. And I think that they're trying to grow an entire universe, which could be kind of cool, if they do it right. Because the start, at least, is doing, to me, better than the movies. Those last few movies, they were a tough watch. I like Star Wars. I like Star Trek. But those last couple of movies, I was in the theater, and my body's like, leave. And my mind's like, no, I must watch it. And it was tough. But the Mandalorian and what I perceive to be the future of the Book of Fett and so forth. And I can't remember her name. Whatever her name was. Ashanti, whatever her name was.
Yeah.
What is it? That chick with the 2 blades?
I can't think of it.
She's going to be good, I think. When she had the sword fight with the girl, and now they've introduced the fact that the Beskar, I think it's called, Medal of the Mandalorians, is defense against the so-called wizards' blades. So I'm like, oh man, hey, I wonder what else they've built, to fight against the space wizards. It's interesting. It's intriguing. So that ought to be good. Jonathan, you made a point too, but I was prattling on just now, and I forgot where I was going with that. So I'm just going to say, I think I think it'll be good. I'm hoping it'll be good. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, like younger folks, they're going to look at this and be like, I don't think they're going to understand exactly what's going on with this. But
Well, first of all, Troy, I'm always making points. I just want you to know that. But no, first of all, I never understood the whole thing that, I can either like Star Wars or Star Trek. I never understood that. I love both, and they're two totally different things, man. The only thing they have is that they're both in space. That's the only thing. They're like totally different stories that you're putting forth. It's not like, more of a thing with DC and Marvel because those are all superhero stories. So it's like, I never understood the whole thing. I can only like one or the other. I do like both. The only thing that Star Wars and Star Trek both have in common is, like Troy just said, the last few movies have both sucked. that's the only thing. I mean, I could spend an hour talking about the problems with the last Star Wars trilogy, just how all the things that I thought were terrible in it. But that's another podcast.
As long as we all agree that we don't like Star Trek and we're Star Wars people, I mean, we're okay with that. So.
Right, exactly. No, but I am like you guys said, I'm very much looking forward to this. I can't wait to see where they take it. I know I better see me some Mandalorian again. That's all I got to say. But this looks really good. This looks really interesting. I can't wait. I'm like already December 28th at 3:00 in the morning, or 29th. I'm going to be there watching it on Disney Plus and watching to see how it goes out. So anyway, well, let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you guys think, what you think of the trailer, what you're excited for, what you're not excited about. Do you like Star Wars or Star Trek? Drop a message in the comments. Anyway, this has been Jonathan along with Troy and Carlos, and this is Comics and Pop. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.
Subscribe.